Hey there, YouTuber. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to update the BIOS for your MSI Pro Z690 D5 motherboard. So it starts, folks, with searching. And we're on this page right here because it is actually in your manual. But, you know, the truth is this stuff is easier to do when you follow along in a video. So I've done a couple of these. What you're going to see in this, I'm going to show you exactly how to get the BIOS. I'm going to tell you exactly what kind of USB you need. I'm going to tell you what to rename the file. And then at the end, there's a video demonstrating how to actually do the install. I use this video for quite a few of these videos. It's the same step between MSI Pro Z690 Wi-Fi, non-Wi-Fi, D4, D5, right? So let's search for this MSI Pro Z690-A D5, all right? That way you get the D5 version. Click on this. And then it's always good to just double check, do I have the right motherboard? A lot of you are going to waste your time if you don't pay attention, right? So this is DDR5 memory. This is the right one. And this is the non-Wi-Fi one. All right. So from here, folks, we're in here. We're going to click on support. Now, if you want to see that manual that I brought up, that's right here, okay? So there's two things in here that I want to show you. One is this spot, and I'm going to open it up again so that we have a second copy of it, because I want to show you this. Oops. Tell me my computer just wigged out. All right. We'll get there eventually. I shouldn't be so impatient with the scroll. Okay. Here we are right here, folks. This is really important. There's so many important steps to this that you guys are going to screw up. All right. So Z690A, this is the one we have. And I will probably do a separate video for the Wi-Fi one. But if you're watching this Wi-Fi, you'll notice here's your BIOS update button that we're going to see in the video, the live video, I guess we'll call it. And then this is where your thumb drive has to go, okay? You see that right there, USB 2.0. These are 2.0 drives. And that is going to be the spot you go to. So let us go back. It's almost like we're starting all over again. To our search, back to here. Then we're going to click on support. And then BIOS, all right? You'll see there's other stuff in here. As far as downloads and things like that. Hopefully you guys have already done that. That's not the point of this video. We're just updating the BIOS. And now, what is the key to this one, folks? Well, you're updating the BIOS without the CPU or GPU. What is this good for? Those of you that have just bought this motherboard and are like, will this work with a 13th Gen CPU? Well, to ensure that it's gonna update the BIOS, if you go in and install 13th and nothing works, then most likely your BIOS is not up to date. And it's going to be, here we are at the end of 2022, it's probably going to be mid 2023 to the end of 2023 that most of those motherboards are actually shipping with updated BIOS. And you may occasionally find one that's old that you know, does not have an updated BIOS. So, all right. Now this is the file we're going to download. It's going to be the first one as you scroll down. It's going to have the newest date right here, November 9th, so it's only a month old. What I do want to show you, though, is it's important to read through these. New BIOS release, just to see what this offers. So this was the 1/12th Gen that wasn't covered by the earlier BIOS. And reason I bring this up, there may be a 13th Gen CPU later that needs a specific BIOS update. All right. Now, this is the first BIOS that was ready for 13th Gen, and you can see some of the other stuff that helps. Now, Downloading this one, folks, this is cumulative. It's going to give you all of this other stuff, right? So we're going to click download and then show in folder. Now, if you're using Edge, it's going to show up here. And regardless, if I click over here on downloads, there's going to be your file, okay? So we're going to right click with the mouse, then left click, extract all, and extract, and then there is our file. And we're going to open this up. So this is the actual BIOS. This is, you know, extra crap we don't need. All right, so that brings us to the next step, folks. You see I have a thumb drive in here. Always better to have these blank, all right? For this is actually 128 gig 128 gig drive, okay? You'll hear people say, oh, you need 8 gig, you need it partitioned. I've done 9 of these videos, and guess what? This has worked fine on all of those. Now, when I say 9, this is to include Gigabyte, Aorus, MSI Pro, ASRock. Those 4 motherboard companies. This thumb drive has worked on all of them to update in the exact form. So when people tell you need 8 gigs, you need it partitioned, I'm not sure which motherboard they're talking about, but it's not this one. Okay, the other aspect of this, and I'm going to jump back out, this is a USB 2.0. None of the 3.0s that I have allow me to format this to FAT32. This is another highly important thing here. If you can't format your thumb drive to FAT32, get another one. Maybe I'll put a link down below. Gigastone 128 USB 2.0. It's worked great for this. Now, how do you format it? I'm not going to show you every step, but you would right click again, click on format, and then select FAT32. Make sure you don't have any files or folders on there beforehand, because that is going to erase all of them, okay? So if you have important files, copy them somewhere else and then try and format them. All right, folks, back to this file. Now, we have to rename this, okay? And you may have noticed in the directions it says that. So I'm going to just copy and paste this so I don't misspell anything. And the other stuff you'll find in here, it tells you the connectors you're going to make. You're going to see that in the video. Okay, no need to install CPU memory or graphics card, okay, or the power switch or any of that other crap. All you're going to need is the thumb drive, CPU power connector, and the 24-pin power connector. Now, in other motherboards, you don't even need the CPU power connector, so I'm surprised that they need it here. But so let's go ahead and rename this file. And I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to Control V it, and boom. Are you sure I want to change it? Yes. Then I'm going to just copy this, or you could cut it over here. And this has to go on the root directory, okay? What does root directory mean? Well, let me just kind of explain this. This is not the root directory. It's one level down, we'll say, or up. If I click here, I'm at the root directory, okay? I'm at that, basically that F drive, if you have a D drive or whatever your thumb drive says, okay? If I click here, this is my root directory for my C drive, okay? All right, so you're good to go, folks. This is going to go to the video demonstrating this, and if this helps you out, hey, please make sure you like the video. Thank you.
Hey there, YouTubers. All right, so in this video, going to update this MSI motherboard. Couple things. This was damaged. I just took off a CPU frame, and I'm actually looking for the 4 screw, but try to ignore that part. All right. So we've got our motherboard, and according to the directions, we need to plug in the 24-pin power connector. So we'll do that up here. All right, and then The directions also say to plug in CPU power connector. There will obviously, well, excuse me, there is no CPU, or excuse me, no graphics card and no CPU installed, okay? So here's the CPU connector, and that goes in just north of the where the CPU is. Get this thing to go in. Now these go in only one way, and for whatever reason we're having more difficulty than we should. Almost makes you feel like we might have the wrong cord. There we go. Finally. Alright, so you will turn this switch to on and then plug that in. Alright. Now, once you do that, here is where our USB plugs in at. That'll go in that spot. That's the dedicated one. And then we'll press this button in. Okay. And that should flash for 6 to 8 minutes. Now we saw the power supply just came on. Another light came on back there. And so I've done these BIOS updates with Gigabyte and what else did we do? In ASRock. They all have been different. And a lot of things have been the same, right? So you have the button. Most of the time it's on the motherboard. So in a few cases it's been where your I/O shield is. And you always have a dedicated USB for the BIOS update. Some of them the power supply is turned on. Some of them it has not. Some of them there's been only one light that flashes, and in this case we have a second light. So if I remember correctly, this is the, oh there it is. This is the MSI Pro Z690-A DDR5 motherboard. We also, while that's flashing, I'm going to do a video for the Wi-Fi one. I pulled the Wi-Fi card out, but that is, you know, what we'll do after this. Make sure that one's up to date as well. Now, funny enough, because I have these two motherboards and they're almost identical, except for what, one thing, one has Wi-Fi and one doesn't. This BIOS will not work with the other one. So, folks, make sure that you download the correct BIOS. Otherwise, you'll be out of luck. So I'm going to pause this. This should be done in a few minutes. And when it's done, I will hopefully at least pick up the camera so you can see the very end of it. You know, it probably shouldn't matter, but probably not a good idea to have other devices plugged into this, like my, what is this? Alright, so we should be getting pretty close. I had enough time to eat a sandwich. If that light stays lit, a lot of times that means, you know, it's not working, at least with the other motherboards. MSI didn't provide a whole lot of troubleshooting information. But, you know, this has been pretty smooth. And I almost feel like, you know, whenever I get a new motherboard, the first thing to do is check to see if it has the ability to have the BIOS updated like this. And do that before I bother updating, or excuse me, not updating, but before I install a CPU to go ahead and install that new BIOS version. So I said we were almost done. Now, one thing to note that we hadn't talked about, the more revisions there are for this thing, the longer it's probably going to take. So early on, it should take about 6 minutes. Later, when there's a lot more revisions, you're talking 8 minutes. Now, we also didn't talk about, before you do this, the weather. Try and do this when the weather's good. Oh, it stopped blinking. Yeah, for a moment it did. So it stopped blinking. For a moment the power supply shut off. And so we're going to hang with it a couple more minutes. It should have completely shut off. If it was like the other ones. So it did stop blinking. Most likely this is complete. I will not release this video, folks, unless I have an updated BIOS. So I'm going to pause this and we'll see if this shuts off. Alright, folks, so this is the first time, like I said, I've updated this MSI Pro motherboard this way. And you can see power supply still on, that light's still on. It's been way too long for this to not shut off automatically. So I would say the BIOS update's been done once the lights have stopped flashing, and we're good to install a CPU. Thanks for checking out the video, folks. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.